Are you buying a home? Here's 10 mistakes you've got to avoid. Coming up right now. So here's mistake number one, not being prepared. Boy, I see people start looking for houses and I can tell, husband and wife haven't exactly talked about exactly what kind of house or certain parts of a house or what kind of architecture or neighborhoods. And we start looking for a house and it kind of all comes out that they have two different opinions or many different opinions, which doesn't really help when you're trying to head down the road of buying one place. So having a family powwow is super important to find out and make sure that you both kind of want the same thing so that when you hire the realtor, and you don't pay for the realtor if you're a buyer, but you want everything to go efficiently and to not be a waste of the realtor's time or your time. So being prepared psychologically, emotionally, and kind of strategically where you're going with your house hunting, and that includes coming up with a budget, because you might think that you can afford a $700,000 house when you haven't really talked to a lender yet, or your wife or your husband has different dreams of a house than you do. They might want to spend more money than you do or less money than you do. So you see, it can get complex and complicated. So I tell people to really be prepared on the financial realm, in the emotional realm, and the planning and the talking about what kind of house, neighborhood, schools, all that stuff. Like, have a big oming moment together, or several of them. So by the time you get down dirty and serious about moving forward with a purchase, you're prepared. The second thing to avoid at all costs is being unorganized. Now, you might think, well, you just talked about prepared, but prepared and organized can be a different thing, okay? So a lot of people have talked for maybe a long time about exactly what they want with a house, and they've done some preparing, but they didn't really get organized with a lot of things. And just one of the basic things, because you may do some homework and some research for many months before you actually purchase. And I'm very fond of the basic everyday binder. I did a video on this and how to get ready to buy a house. And because one of the things you want to avoid is complete insanity, like, oh, I forgot to put this here or that there, and the lender starts asking you for documents and you're like, oh my goodness, that's gonna take me 3 hours on the computer. So you see, getting organized, especially with your money, especially with files, you'll need a little copy of your tax records. And it's April 2021. The old open house may come back, and maybe you're collecting flyers from different open houses you're going to, or you're printing things off the internet. Maybe you collect most things digitally on your phone, but whatever you do, have some organization. If you're going to open houses and you pluck out a flyer, you want to have a place to put it. So I always say buy a binder with put 2 pockets in it and some lined paper. So you can write yourself notes in the middle of the night when you wake up and remember things. And if you took that flyer from that really cool house because you wanted to remember the architecture, to tell your future realtor what kind of style you want in your house, and you put that in the realtor pocket in your binder. So, and then the other pockets for your lending, right? And you might have some things on your phone in your Google Drive as well. But start collecting things, and I say keep your home buying binder in your car, because you know how it is on Sunday. You go to church, you go get some donuts, and then you want to go look at some open houses or drive by a few that you saw on the internet or something. And maybe you take a picture of them or something, I don't know, but you're starting to get ideas and lists and you're getting excited, but you really want to avoid complete insanity with things all over the place. So organize on your phone, organize with a binder, because paper still exists and you're going to need things, and you might get brochures, you never know. And when they're all spread out all over and thrown in your back seat or what have you, right? It just contributes to making house hunting a little bit more of a big deal than it has to. So get prepared and get organized. All right, the third thing I always make a big deal of is to avoid dealing with your money at the last minute when you're in escrow. I've had this happen to me. I am a more seasoned realtor now, so I coach everybody way up front on it. But you want to avoid situations like you're in your 25th day of escrow and that money from your Schwab account just hasn't transferred over into your bank account and we're closing in 5 or 6 days. That's a problem. Or your parents are giving you a bunch of money for a down payment and they just handed you the check and it's 25 days into escrow. Banks don't like that. They'll put a hold on it for a long time and we might need it in 5 days. So you need to season your money. And the big thing I tell people is open a special bank account just for house hunting, because not only are you going to have a down payment involved, but when you make an offer, you have to take a little bit of money, a nice chunk of money actually, 3% of the offer price you just made, to a title and escrow company. So if you're buying a $600,000 house, 3 times 6 is 18. So you're going to need $18,000 ready to go that you bring up to a title and escrow company, and that's held in trust until you absolutely 100% decide you want the house, which I talk about in my other videos. But you want to avoid complete craziness with your finances. When you've just found a house, you just put in an offer, the offer got accepted, and you're gonna buy this house. And we don't want to mess it up by having money stuff happen, okay? And along with this, I tell people to avoid at all costs spending money on credit cards. Put a halt to all spending. Don't go out and buy cars and things like this when you're about to buy a house. So pay attention to your money and your spending and open a special bank account when you are approaching the period where you're getting serious about buying a house. Avoid meeting your realtor at the last minute. Now I know a lot of people are like, well, I'll just find my houses on Zillow and everywhere else, and we've been looking and driving through, and we'll just get the realtor to do the paperwork. Well, you know what? As the buyer, you don't have to pay for the realtor. You just want to engage with a realtor who will be focused on you, fighting for you, and protecting you through the entire process, and quite frankly, for many, many months before you even get rolling on buying a house. There's a lot to know about buying a house, and many of you know it because you're watching my videos on my YouTube channel. There's subject after subject, right? Things you need to know. And your realtor, you need to sit down with them for a good hour and get to know them, and they need to get to know you. And they can lead you to lenders that actually get the deal done, who are good lenders. They can lead you to making some strategic decisions way before you buy your house, like credit and all kinds of stuff. So it's important to engage in a realtor many, many months before you actually start the hunt. And besides, we can send you all the active listings. And say you're not going to buy for a year or 10 months. You want to be plugged into I just tested my microphone, sorry. You want to be plugged into my listing service so that you can kind of start looking at the market and seeing what's going on. So there's a lot of pre-thinking and things you want to know, and that you want your realtor tuned into way before you find that perfect house, because there's a lot that happens and a lot that goes on, and realtors are all up in the business, they're all in the industry, and they can help you with pitfalls and a lot of other things to avoid. So make sure you engage with a great realtor way before you start looking for a house. So you want to avoid being on different pages and a different world than your realtor. It's super important that you're using your realtor's tools to look for homes. Now I know with Keller Williams we have an app that is my listing service on my phone. I use it all the time. I connect all my buyers up to my listing service so they get dripped into their email of all the new listings as they get posted in the multiple listing service. So one of the things that really makes a buyer crazy is they're out there using Zillow and everything else, and then they call me to go see a house and I told them it was sold 2 weeks ago, because those websites, many of them, use public records they pull from them, and that's the information. And I can't tell you how many times a 4-bedroom is a 3-bedroom or a 3-bedroom is a 4-bedroom on many of those websites that are super popular to look for homes, but they don't have accurate, up-to-date information. So make sure it's another reason to get to know a realtor, get on their system, avoid the insanity of falling in love with houses that are either out of your budget or they were already sold or there's some issue with them. So that's kind of a really important thing, because it's happened to me where people are looking for houses. I'm like, where are you finding that house? And they found it on the internet, but it's not active anymore because it was sold. So all that stuff makes a buyer a little bit more stressed out. So when you're on the same page with a realtor and the realtor's guiding you and they're giving you the same tools and everybody's looking in the same place, you're having a lot more fun looking for your house. So avoid insanity is my rule. You really want to avoid being ignorant when you go to buy a house. That's a big deal. I've done several videos on that subject. Homeownership, especially the first 1 or 2 or 3 years, can be pretty shocking. There's no landlord around and you have to pay for everything. Or get on YouTube University and learn how to change the kit in your toilet or the washer on the dripping kitchen sink. So there's expenses you never had as a renter, and they're all yours when you own a house. So one thing I really encourage people, especially first-time buyers, always first-time buyers, to really look into and to become really well aware of by writing it down, maybe in your home buying binder, okay? What are all the expenses every month for owning a house? And throw in that $180 cable bill too for the television, because that's $180 or $120, whatever you pay. And you're still going to have to pay gas, electricity, trash, and all the other things. So look seriously at what it costs to own a home and the things you need to know about owning a house, like hot water heaters and furnaces and air conditioning units. Where's the shutoff valves? You know, if there's an earthquake, what happens? You just have to think about these things, you know, not every day, not all the time, but you're about to be a homeowner and you're going to want to know this stuff before you get keys to your front door. It's super important. These aren't things you want surprises on once you move in. Everything should be pretty cool with your house when you move in. I mean, you bought it, you did the homework on it, you did inspections, and you know what shape of the house is. Maybe the buyer fixed everything up for you, but houses shrink and expand and they're exposed to the weather and they age and they break. So you need to understand, like, there needs to be a little extra money in a pot for the rainy day, and just kind of know the function of a house. It'll make you have fun in your home. And that's what I want for you, is to just enjoy it. But you kind of have to manage the whole home owning process, well, till the day you die, once you own the house. So get ready for it, because you're about to be a home owner. So everybody wants to avoid taxes, right? Well, when you own a house, you're not avoiding taxes, because you have to pay property taxes. Now, if you got a loan where your property taxes are incorporated into your monthly payment, your monthly mortgage payment, that's called an impound account, and it's a much easier way to pay your property taxes, because they're probably, besides the interest on your loan, one of the most expensive parts of owning a house. And when you jump into home ownership, all of a sudden you have the wake-up call of property taxes, and that can be something that actually ends up making a lot of people lose their houses because they don't prepare and they didn't avoid the pitfall of foreclosure or, I don't know, other things before they got into buying a house, and the property taxes are a heavy burden. So I highly recommend that you do an impound account with your property taxes, or you study up and learn about property taxes. And if you're a disciplined person, you save way ahead of time, and you always know that in California, you'll pay 1% of the price that you purchased the house every year for as long as you have your house for your property taxes. So study Prop 13, understand property taxes, and avoid bad stuff by not understanding property taxes before you go purchasing a home. Now, If you're about to buy a house, one of the main things you want to avoid are your credit cards. Although your credit cards and your credit, including student loans and stuff like that, can actually make your credit score go up. And I talk about this in many of my videos in my magical upper right hand corner, okay, or the video coming up over here. And I talk about them because having good credit is what makes your credit score rise, and which eventually affects the interest rate on your house. So you want to avoid not understanding credit. Read about it, spend 3 to 4 hours, 5 hours, learn about it. Buy Anthony Davenport's book, which I mentioned in my credit video, and maybe I'll put it down below this video, on credit score, it's called. That's the name of the book, Anthony Davenport. If you need to clean up your credit, you can clean it up and make it shine. Don't be scared that you have a balance, but understand credit, which is another great reason to meet lenders right away, because they'll explain to you how you pay down your credit. Sometimes having a zero balance isn't the best thing for your credit score. I know that's weird, but it's a thing. And it can be a strategy. The paying down of your credit cards can be a strategy in making sure you have a high credit score. So learn a little bit about credit. Avoid getting into home buying with any debt. But if you have some, you also want to learn how to pay it down the right way. All right? So these are 10 things that you want to avoid if you're going to start buying a house. It's great to know the things to avoid, right? Because there's a lot to think about when you go to buy a house. So I hope you enjoyed that. Leave me your comments below. What's something you wish that you avoided when you bought your house? Something you wish you knew about ahead of time, in other words. I would love to know that, because that might help another buyer when they read the comments below. So put them in the comments. Go down to the description section and look for all the free ebooks I give away. I give away a free buyer's guide, seller's guides, relocation guides. They're all free. Just click on the link. I'm an affiliate with Homes for Heroes, so if you're active or retired military, a first responder, a teacher, make sure you check out Homes for Heroes, because I give you a giant thank you check for being a hero after you buy or sell a house. So check out the Homes for Heroes program. Give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the little bell. This is Anita with Keller Williams Real Estate and Discover Sonoma County Living, and I'll see you around the neighborhood.